All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why are so many women losing their minds over black men? And no, I'm not talking about stereotypes or the usual nonsense the media pushes. I mean the real reason, the one nobody wants to admit. It all comes down to masculinity, or better yet, the disappearance of it. Me, personally, I'm white, but I'm here to speak the cold truth about our society and what makes black communities stand in dating scene. See, in today's world, masculinity is on life support. In the West, men are being told to tone it down, be more emotionally available, and embrace their softer side. Meanwhile, women are naturally wired to be drawn to strength, leadership, and dominance. And guess what? In many black cultures, those things are still celebrated. That's why they stand out. In a sea of men who've been taught to suppress their natural instincts, black men, generally speaking, still hold on to masculine traditions, and women notice. For decades, Western men have been fed a steady diet of guilt and shame for simply being men. Schools tell boys to sit still, stop roughhousing, and suppress aggression. The media bombards them with messages that masculinity is toxic. Relationships? Oh, you better be soft, compliant, and apologize even when you're right. And what's the result? A generation of men who don't know how to lead, don't know how to take charge, and certainly don't know how to make a woman feel feminine. And trust me, women feel this. They might not admit it out loud, but when they see a guy who carries himself like a man, who isn't afraid to take charge, who embraces his masculine nature, they feel it. Now compare that to many black men who, despite growing up in a world that tries to strip them of their masculinity, still hold on to it. Here's the thing. Masculinity isn't just about hitting the gym or deepening your voice. It's about presence. It's how you move, how you talk, how you carry yourself. It's the ability to command respect without begging for it. Many black men grow up in environments where toughness is not just encouraged. It's necessary. They're taught to stand tall, to handle pressure, to be assertive. That doesn't mean they don't have struggles, but instead of playing the victim card, they adapt. And women? Women love this. When a man walks into a room and you can just feel his presence, his confidence, his dominance, that's attractive on a primal level. It taps into something ancient in a woman's DNA that no amount of modern programming can erase. And the contrast is painfully obvious. You've got dudes in skinny jeans debating pronouns, while a black man just walks in, owns the space, and says exactly what's on his mind. Which one do you think women are drawn to? Exactly. Now let's talk about dating. The modern dating world is a mess. Apps have made women feel like celebrities and men like disposable background characters. But here's where it gets interesting. Most guys today are too afraid to stand out. They swipe, they text, they overthink their messages, and they play it safe because they're terrified of offending a woman or ruining their chances. Meanwhile, a guy with actual confidence doesn't play those games. He doesn't apologize for being himself. He doesn't need to ask permission to lead. He knows his worth and acts accordingly. And that's what puts black men in the 1%. They don't just exist in a world that tells men to be weak. They reject it outright. That's why women chase them. It's not about skin color. It's about the attitude, the masculinity they still embrace when so many other men have abandoned it. So, what's the lesson here? Masculinity isn't dead. It's just rare. And when something becomes rare, it becomes valuable. Women will always be drawn to strength. They can virtue signal all they want, but at the end of the day, their actions speak louder than words. If you want to stand out, if you want to be the guy they chase, you don't need to change your race. You need to reclaim your masculinity. Because in a world full of weak men, the strong ones will always be in demand. Think about it. If you got value from this, hit that like button, drop a comment below, subscribe for more content, and gather your whole inner masculinity, then unleash it when you hit the notification bell.